It'd be help if I turned the camera on.
Yeah, it would work a little better.
Okay. We're here with former councilman. It's going to get hard to get used to. I'm not saying Councilman John Snyder because you've been here so long, but John's been councilman up until midnight. May 31st.
Correct.
In North Canton for nearly 17 years, right, John?
Right. I came in November of 1998. I was appointed, and then I ran successfully up to I resigned in May of this year.
Okay. And you replaced Darrell Revolt, who had become mayor, or is that?
Darrell became the mayor, left a vacancy in the 4th Ward, and then I applied for it and was voted in as the councilman of the 4th Ward.
And how long have you been in North Canton?
Living?
Yeah.
I moved here in 1975.
And you came from?
From Canton.
Oh, I see.
I opened a men's store on South Main.
I see.
I bought a building there and opened a men's store in 1976. So I moved here. They told me, I joined the chamber, they said, you got to get involved. So I got involved in politics, from a peripheral. Mayor Hines. Pardon me?
Right away?
Tried to, went to the chamber events, attended some meetings here. John Boyden was the council president. Mayor Hines was here. He appointed me to the planning commission, asked me if I wanted to be on planning commission or civil service. I says, I'll go to the planning commission, which I knew nothing about. So I served a year there and became the chairman, served 2 years as its chairman, and I didn't have the technical background to serve as chairman. That really requires somebody as an engineer or surveyor. I could look at the plans and read them, but from the technical standpoint, so I just stayed on planning until I became a councilman.
And so when did you get involved in something other than just civic work, but in politics itself? Probably the biggest thing that I said I got involved in was when they did the annexation of the Hoover property, which was formerly called the Maytag Mall. And there were a group of activists that were totally opposed to it. I, as a business... What year would this have been?
That would have been around 70... No, excuse me, that was about in early to mid-'80s.
Okay.
And they actually placed a referendum, the first referendum ever to go on the ballot here in North Canton. And I got involved with, the council was active, but the law prohibits them from actually campaigning. So I got on the committee, which was headed by a group of citizens and funded by the developers, basically, McKinley Development. And they got on the ballot and it passed. And got my interest in it. And Greg Burnett, who was a councilman, was across the street. And he wanted to, how should I say, unseat a couple council members. He didn't work within the system well with, so he talked me into running against Darrell. And so, I, as being a novice, didn't know what to do, so I called Charles Brown, who's the head of the Republican Party. And I never forgot what he said to me. He says, young man, instead of running against Darrell, you should be calling him up and telling him you want to be his campaign finance manager. And then I knew, well, I think I did the wrong thing here. I shouldn't have run against him. And I ran against, I did quite well. I got about 42, 43% of the vote. I didn't do any door-to-door. I sent out some mailers, and I was well known in the community from the standpoint of running a small business. And then the following year, Darrell became the mayor because Bill Hines resigned and got me started. And Darrell and I spent a lot of years together, and he was a good mentor to me. And,
so Darrell didn't hold it against you?
Not the least bit, no. Darrell was very kind to me. And I haven't talked to him since he's come back, but he was always good to me. The years that he was in Worcester as council president, I talked to him every day and knew what was going on. He told me that when I got the job. He said, I'm going to tell you one number you want to put on your speed dial, the council clerk, and that was Mary Louise Biddle. He said, you talk to her every day and you find out what's going on and what's happening in the city. So I do that. I call, and many mornings I just came up. Well, before I was even in leadership. And then I served 1 year. The second year, I was appointed in '98, and then I was made in December that same year. I was made chairman of finance, which is is the plum job in the council. And Greg Burnett appointed me chairman, and I stayed that way until I think 2003. When Pat Dioro took it over and came in. And then Pat served 1 year. I served on the committee, and Doug was president. Second year, he got off of it. He didn't want to do it.